Happy Sunday, Brandon.
Let's go. Let's
How you
go.
doing?
I'm good, man. I am good. Excited. A lot of great things happening. It's that time of year. It's funny for teachers and principals and school leaders and educators that are out there. It's like our new year really isn't January 1. Our new year is now. So it's the new
Yeah,
year
for sure.
coming up.
Yeah, yeah, exciting, right? I've had an opportunity already to be at a handful of schools. With their school year kicking off. I'll be at one tomorrow, right here in Nebraska. Looking forward to that. And you're right, man. It's incredible. And maybe this year, I don't know. Maybe I'm just hopeful. Maybe it really is a little bit different, but it just feels different this year. Being in schools over the last few weeks compared to a year ago at this time, the energy just seems different. It's like there's a level of electricity, and just maybe we're finally moving forward. And we get education where we want it to be, where it's really focused on teaching and learning, and not all this other silly junk, all this noise that we've been dealing with, on the perimeters. So I'm super hopeful, and I agree with you, man. It's Happy New Year time all around the country.
It's Happy New Year time. And what do we always think about when it's Happy New Year time? The New Year's resolution. We think about
Yeah.
those goals. So we are coming to you today with 5 tips for helping you set your goals and crush your goals. But most importantly, getting down to the nitty gritty and starting with those 5 things that will help you get that goal into motion. We talk all the time a lot in the work we've been doing and having the opportunity to work and coach with other educators and other individuals that are out there. One of the things that we find that once we really get going is once we're able to solidify and clarify those goals right away, things take off. And it all starts with one thing. And what is that one thing? What are those 5 things? We're going to give them all to you, but Darrin, I'm going to let you chime in right there because I know I can see you nodding your head ready to go
Yeah.
off.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, here's the truth about setting goals. We all set goals, whether it's, something we write down or we actually build an action plan for, or we just in our head, man, I'd really like to, whatever that might be, hey, I want to write a book, or, this year I want to, connect with every single student in my classroom, or, in the next 6 months, I'm going to lose 20 pounds, or whatever. We all set goals, whether we do them purposefully or we don't do them purposefully. And I think that's, as I'm listening to you talk, that's the thing that just kind of, jumps up into the front of my mind is goals are only something that we're going to achieve if we're really intentional about it. If we really, set out a plan, know what some of those key action steps are going to be. I mean, I'm not saying, we shouldn't be flexible in our goals, and we should be flexible in our steps, but if we don't at least have a good outline, a good plan for how am I going to get from point A to point B, those goals are just like high hopes. And so what we want to do, today is let's talk about 5 things that we feel take goal setting from just simply high hopes to actually making them happen. And Brandon kind of calls this like goal setting 101. And so let's just, we'll hit those five things. We'll talk about those a little bit, and then maybe even share some anecdotes around each of those that maybe will help you as you think about moving your goals from just high hopes into actually turning them into action. And I think that first one, I already kind of touched on it, Brandon, but you got to write them down. Write them down, right?
Numero uno. I mean, we all have goals. I'm a driven person. I believe that I have a lot of goals. And I found that in my life that I wasn't writing them down. And as I got good or setting goals or accomplishing goals, it's an ongoing journey. And what I found was that sometimes I would be like, well, you know what? I know my goals so well, I don't have to write it down. But I really think that this is something we encourage a lot with the people that we work with is writing down your goals every day. When you reread them, when you revise them, and when you add to them and build upon them and you make it part of your daily habits, you're absolutely guaranteed to build momentum towards your goals because you're thinking about it every single day. And just like every time you read something that you wrote, just like writers, when they revise, you read it, you revise it, you add to it. But it starts with writing it down. Number one. Darrin, number two, this next part.
Uh,
We talk about this all the time in here. Once you've written it down, connect your goals to your purpose. Darrin, take us away on that one.
yeah. I mean, what is it that you want to accomplish, and how does that connect to who you are as a human being? When I think about my purpose, I think about my why. I think about what drives me, and that simply is to get people to walk in purpose, to have clarity around what it is that they stand for, what they're trying to accomplish. And when we're clear about what we want to do, it sure makes it a whole lot easier to get there. It's like getting in your car and saying, I'm going to go somewhere, but you don't know where. If you just get in the car and aimlessly drive, when I was a kid, we used to call that cruising. And when gas was 89 cents a gallon, you could go and do that. Now it's I guess that's a little bit more wasteful, right? We don't want to be wasteful with our time. We got to be clear about our purpose. What is it that you really are wanting to do, and how does it connect to who you are as a human being? I mean, where are you going to go with it? And I want to tie these two together really quick. I think you probably saw this too. Um, Among the amazing educators across the globe that Brandon and I are connected with, one of the groups that we're fairly well connected with is a group called the Teach Better Team. Most of you know the Teach Better Team, but this morning, Brandon, Ray Hewart, the wonderful Ray Hewart, shared a challenge with everybody, and it was simply to number one and number two. It's incredible how it's like she knew we were going to go live with this, but she said, number one, I want you to post this. We can do hard things, because sometimes things are hard, right? And so I've already written this down. She said, post it somewhere. So, hey, focus on that. And then connect it to what you're trying to accomplish. Share those things. Think about over the next 4 or 5 days. If it's written down, if it's connected to my purpose, I'm going to keep coming back to it. I'm going to keep moving forward with it. If I just write it up, write it up on the wall, but I don't look at it, there's no point in that. You got to write it someplace you're going to see it, and then connect it to what you're trying to accomplish with who you are. Those things are so meaningful. And that takes us into number three, which you can do all of those things, but if you don't have a plan, you're never going to get there, right, Brandon? You got to have a plan. I know one of the things you talk about in our free course, we talk about two things, folks, honestly, in our free course, and the links are down there for you. But we talk about failing to meet our goals because of imposter syndrome, which is one of my favorite things to talk about. And the second thing we talk about is failing to plan, and that's something Brandon talks about all the time. So make a plan, Brandon. I'll throw that to you.
Yeah, and what it is sometimes we always jump right to the action plan, the to-do list, the number of things that we have to do when we start listing out those things. And what happens is sometimes when we don't go through a process where we've clarified our goal, we've written it down, where we have gone ahead and we have connected purpose so that we understand that if we don't achieve this goal, we're going to feel less than who we want to be. When we get to that point, we know that this is a goal we have to crush. So when you start going through that process, start with those two things first, then you can develop an action plan that comes a lot quicker and it's a lot more purposeful. And that's really important. When you develop your action plan, now you're starting to list down the steps that you think you will need to follow. Make it a brain dump, make it a brain splash, go in later. We'll talk about that next part later, but think about as you're doing it, how long will each one of those things take? 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 2 days, 1 week, 1 month, whatever it is, because you want to think about that along the way, because that takes us into number 4. The next one, prioritize. Once you have developed your action plan, now prioritize those things in order in how they will get done. It's as simple as that. Number 4 is
Yeah.
that simple. Prioritize what you're going to do and how you're going to do it.
Yeah, Gary Keller talks about this in The One Thing. He also, there was an episode of a podcast. I don't remember if it was the One Thing podcast or if I heard him on a different podcast. I can't remember specifically, but he talked about, taking those action plans and prioritizing in such a way that you're like working it backwards. So if my goal this year is to have, I'm going to use a nice round number here, 24 speaking engagements, that's 2 a month. So think about it as, okay, that's 2 a month that I need to have booked. And now let's back it up to what am I doing this month to make sure that I'm staying on track with my goal? What are the things I need to do? What do I have to prioritize in order to stay on task with that particular goal? And then take it even further. And this is kind of how I work in terms of my goals is now let's talk about this week. What am I doing this week to make sure that this month I'm on track for this year? So that's really how we need to be focusing on prioritizing those action steps for achieving our goal. I don't know about you, Brandon. Before I really got good at setting goals and really got good at following this process, I would say, hey, I want to accomplish blah, blah, blah. And, like you were talking about New Year's at the beginning of the year, hey, January comes, hey, I'm going to do this. And then before you know it, it's October. And it's like, man, I haven't done anything. Can I squish it all in now? We're so much better off when we prioritize what those action steps are and how that over time can step us to where we want to be. And then that just, honestly, that takes us to the last one. And that's just simply to celebrate and not just celebrating at the end, not just because you've achieved the goal, but celebrate the fact that you're accomplishing those steps that I just talked about along the way. That's when we need to be celebrating. Hey, at the halfway point of the year, if you said your goal was 24 speaking engagements and you had 12, oh my God, celebrate that. Or even you have a month where, hey, I got the 2 I needed to get. Boom, celebrate that stuff. Because if we prolong and put off celebrating, and honestly, as much of a celebrate guy as I am, as much of a school culture guy as I am, I struggle with this particular area from a business perspective. I don't celebrate near enough. And, I look back a year from right now, where I was to where I am, where RTA is, we should be celebrating a lot, but we don't do that. So take our advice. Don't follow my lead on this one. I got to get better, but celebrate success as it is happening. It's huge. It leads to more success.
Yeah, absolutely. And you bring up a really good point right there is this is an ongoing daily challenge. This is something that's going to continue throughout your life. Some weeks, some days are going to be stronger than others. And it's going to be harder sometimes to do this process. But the goal is to keep yourself pushing forward, to get uncomfortable. That one more, that power of one more. I just finished Ed Milet's book. I know we're both reading Ed Milet's book, Power
Yeah,
of
I
One
just
More.
started.
And that's pretty much it. Just you got to do one more goal, one more day of writing your goals. Just take it one piece at a time. And sometimes we get overwhelmed by that large list that's in front of us. And when we take the time to not only celebrate yourself, but also celebrate those around you. Celebrate your family who sacrificed the time so that you could accomplish the goals that you could. Celebrate the people around you in your circle, in your network, in your business, those people that have made these goals possible. And most importantly, celebrate with someone who keeps you accountable, your accountability partner. You got to have somebody out there that you can share this with. That's someone that can text you on Tuesday morning, hey, did you do this? Did you do that? Someone who can be there that can kind of talk to you along the way and just share your hope. It could be a friend. It could also be that third point perspective, which we always talk about. And having that third point perspective, having someone out there who necessarily isn't your friend, who wants to push you because that's what you said you wanted them to keep you accountable for. It's a little easier for that third point perspective to do that from someone you don't know right away than it is from your very close friend or your spouse or something
Right.
like that. So those kinds of things are really important. Have people to celebrate with you around you. And I'm going to go back, and that's it. Those are the 5. I want to go back through the 5 real quick. So remember those 5.
Yeah.
Number 1, write them down. Write down those goals. Number 2, connect those goals to your purpose. Number 3, develop the action plan. Number 4, don't forget to prioritize the action plan. And number 5, always most importantly, set up those times to celebrate with everybody around you.
Yeah, absolutely. And there you go, right there. That is goal setting and goal crushing 101. Not even just goal setting, but how you're going to go and actually crush those goals. That's such a powerful piece. And I love what you brought up there too, Brandon, with having that accountability partner, that, that person that you just don't want to let them down, and it's not. Man, I did an activity with a leadership group in Nevada a couple of weeks ago, and we spent like 3 hours on what really accountability means, and I love where as a group they ended up, because they talked about how accountability in the education space has kind of become almost a bad word, almost a negative word, because it carries with it, oh, your school is failing, or you're not being successful as a teacher, or your students are not growing as much as they should, or whatever the case may be. But the truth is, accountability needs to be something that is a shared thing. It's something where we feel that it's important that we hold up our end when working with someone else. And whether that's, I'm part of a leadership team in a school, I'm part of a grade level, teacher group, or I'm working with somebody like you were just alluding to, that's maybe a coach, a friend, somebody like that I publicly tell them my goals. And folks, this is a bonus one for you right here. So this is like goal crushing 101 plus one. So when you make the goal public with that person, you become so much more accountable to that goal, and more accountable to that person, because I have now said, Brandon, I am going to accomplish this. Here's how I'm going to do it. Here's my timeline. These are my action steps. This is my priority in there. And hey, when we get done, here's how I want to celebrate that. When you share that with somebody, all of a sudden you feel like it's not just letting yourself down if you fall short, it's letting that other person down. And that, to me, Brandon, that's like, to borrow our buddy Kip Schubert's phrase, that's the secret sauce right there. When you tell somebody else, when you share it publicly, whether that's, I posted on my website, our goal this year at RTA is blah, 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 or I tell you as my coach, as my friend, as my confidant, I want to accomplish this, and here are the steps I'm going to take. Changes the game, doesn't it?
Absolutely changes the game when you put it all together. It's that simple, but it starts with step 1. It starts with writing down your goals. And if you're writing them already, how are you taking them to the next level? And we hope that you will join us as we continue to give great information like this. Check out our online course. Check out our free course. We also have a paid course as well. I will tell you this. The free course is going to take you a total of 20 minutes to go through it. The video portion, that's the 20 minutes roughly. Then, depending on how much you want to put into the activity exercises, the exercise sheets, That's going to take you a little bit longer because those are living and breathing documents that you're going to use throughout the process. And then those carry right over into the other course. When you pick up the other course, it picks up right where the free course left off. So we ask you, get into that
Yeah.
free course, shoot us some information, shoot us an email,
Yeah.
connect with us, tell us what you think, tell us what else you're looking for. We are creating more of this content very, very quickly because this is something that both Darrin and I are super, super excited about. We're excited to coach. We're excited to be working with you. And there's nothing better than that feeling of seeing or having a small piece in someone else's success in their journey of their life. And that's what we're here to do. So sign up. The links are down there. The QR code's there. But also, most importantly, just keep connecting with us. Keep joining
Yeah.
because we're here to provide value, and we hope you'll take advantage of our value.
Yeah. We just want to help you along the way, help you be as successful as you can be. Let's be honest. You know, when it becomes a shared thing, like I was talking about earlier, the odds of success just go up that much more. So reach out, hit the QR code over here, hit the link over there, go to roadtoawesome.net, /UUP on the RTA. Lots of great information there. Both of our social media handles are right there. You can find Brandon, everything Brandon is Brandon Beck EDU. Everything me is Darrin and Peppered. Just connect. Let's have a conversation. Let us know how we can help you. We hope you have an amazing Road to Awesome week. Thanks for spending a couple of minutes with us today.
Crush your goals. 5 steps.
See you.